Hi guys! This video is about breathing, which is the most important part of any yoga practice. It's not the most difficult, but it is the most important. And I know if you're watching this, you've already been breathing your entire life, but most of us tend to breathe unconsciously without ever thinking about it. And changing the way that you breathe can have a dramatic impact on your state of mind and your overall sense of health and well-being. You may have heard the Sanskrit word prana, which is often translated as breath, but is in fact more than the breath. Prana is your life force energy, which is contained in the breath. So depending on how you're breathing, you can either increase the amount of life force energy that you're bringing in, or you can restrict it. The breath is an incredible tool and fascinating if you dive deeply into it. We're not going to do that today. This is just a simple introductory video that will be covering breath awareness, full yogic breathing, lower belly breathing, and Ujjayi breath. We are going to start out lying down. This will allow you and the muscles that are involved in the breathing process to be most relaxed. So go ahead and come down onto your back on your mats. Allow your arms to rest a little ways away from your body, your legs to rest a little ways away from each other, and see if that's comfortable. If you're totally comfortable in this position, you can stay here. Otherwise, you can bend your knees, allow your feet to rest on the floor. The knees can rest against each other if they want to, so that this feels effortless. If you have a bolster or a pillow around and you'd rather put that under your knees, you can pause the video and go grab one. When you're comfortable, take a few moments to just lay here and breathe. Don't try to change anything about your breath. Just allow yourself to breathe the way you normally would. The only difference is that you're paying attention, as if you are the observer of yourself, watching yourself breathe. Just notice what it feels like to breathe. Notice where you feel the breath entering the body. Do you notice any sensation as it's coming in through your nostrils? Any temperature as it enters and leaves the nostrils? Do you feel any sensation in your throat? And where do you feel movement in the body as you're breathing? Do you feel your belly expanding and contracting? Do you feel the rib cage moving, either out to the sides or upward? Is the chest moving, rising and falling? Do you feel any movement anywhere else in the body? Are your shoulders moving? And here you're not trying to change anything, and no judgment here. This is just to become aware of how you're breathing naturally. Notice if you feel any restriction anywhere, any tightness or shortness of breath. If you feel any restriction from your clothing, you can pause the video and maybe go change into something more comfortable. You want the body to be able to move easily and comfortably. Notice the length of your breath. Does it feel long or short? Does it feel rushed or relaxed? Have you noticed any changes in the breath or in the way you feel just from this process of observation of the breath. Now bring your right hand onto your lower belly and your left hand onto your chest. Continue breathing naturally. Notice if it's the belly moving, the chest moving. This might make it easier to notice. Now we'll transition to full yogic breathing, which is also known as 3-part breathing. First, we'll take one inhale together and one exhale. With your next inhale, invite the breath first into your belly, then to your rib cage, then into your chest. And exhale from chest, ribs, and belly. Inhale to belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. Continue breathing this way at your own pace. If you need to go slower or faster than me, that's okay. Find your own rhythm. Feel the breath flowing through each area of the body. The belly, the rib cage, and the chest. And flowing out in reverse order. This is a way of breathing that encourages the body to make use of the full capacity of the lungs. It might feel relaxing, or it might feel awkward or uncomfortable. Either way is okay. If it feels uncomfortable, that's normal. It's the first time you're trying it. And now slide your hand that's on your heart down next to your other hand. So both hands are on the lower belly. Join the tips of your thumb and your forefingers so that there's a triangle created between your hands pointing downwards. As you breathe now, invite all of the breath into your lower belly, into that space underneath your hands. Feel the belly rising upward as you breathe in. And feel the navel sinking back toward your spine as you breathe out. Breathing in, filling. Breathing out, emptying. Just keep going. Be aware if this feels easy or restricted. Notice if this feels relaxing. Take one last deep breath, filling the belly, and slowly let the air go. And then release your hands and slowly make your way up into a seated position. And again, here you want to be comfortable. So if you're comfortable cross-legged on the mat, that's perfect. If you want to grab a blanket to sit on or some blocks, you can do that. Feel free to sit on your knees if you prefer, maybe with 1 or 2 blocks underneath you. Just make sure you're comfortable and that your spine is straight and tall. We're going to repeat the full yogic breath and the belly breath in this seated position so that you can see what it feels like seated versus lying down. Start by bringing one hand onto your belly, one hand onto your heart. Breathe in to the belly the rib cage, and the chest. Exhale from chest, ribs, and belly. Again, inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Release your hands down onto your legs and continue this 3-part breath. Again, finding your own rhythm. Exhale all the air out of your lungs. And then bring both hands onto your lower belly. Again, joining the tips of the thumbs and the forefingers, create the triangle. Inhale, draw the breath into the lower belly, filling the belly. And exhale, slowly releasing the air. Inhale deeply. And exhale fully. Continue this full belly breath, releasing your hands to your legs if you like. What's happening physiologically in this full belly breath is that your diaphragm, which is the main muscle of breathing, it's this dome-shaped muscle underneath your heart and lungs that separates your thoracic cavity from your abdominal cavity. Anytime you breathe, the diaphragm is involved. And as the diaphragm contracts, it moves downward. That creates space for the thoracic cavity to expand downwards, allowing the lungs to expand. However, if the diaphragm doesn't move very far down, the chest will expand outward. If the diaphragm moves downward, it presses your belly outward. So you can think of your abdominal cavity like a balloon, where if you would squeeze one side of the balloon, the rest of the balloon will expand. That's what's happening with the diaphragm and your belly. So as you're inhaling and drawing the air into your belly, your diaphragm is pressing down, belly expanding outward. As that's happening, the thoracic cavity is expanding downward. So you're allowing the breath to enter the deepest part of the lungs. And this is typically very relaxing. Continue a few more breaths. Our last breathing technique is Ujjayi breath. This is often translated as ocean breathing. To begin, we'll start by breathing in and out through the mouth and breathing with sound so that we create a sound like Darth Vader, like go ahead and try it. You can think of yourself as a very relaxed, yogic Darth Vader. Now we're going to create that same Darth Vader sound of the ocean, but with the mouth closed and breathing through the nose. So inhale and exhale. And if this feels difficult, the way to do it is you're contracting the back of your throat, partially closing the airway. The reason we breathe this way with Ujjayi breath or ocean breathing is for a couple reasons. Number one, it slows the breath down. When you have that partial closing of the airway, the breath takes longer to get through. So you'll probably notice that your breath becomes slower and longer, which is relaxing. Number two, that sound gives you something more tangible to focus on. It reminds you to keep paying attention to the breath. So if you ever practice Ashtanga yoga, Ujjayi breath is traditionally always practiced throughout Ashtanga, and you'll find it in other yoga classes as well. It's also very meditative, so it's a great strategy for meditation if you ever want to just sit and breathe with Ujjayi breath, focusing on the breath. So that wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed and have a beautiful rest of the day. Remember to keep breathing consciously. See you next time.